Yeah, it's part of my James Bond marathon on Netflix. Today I watched GoldenEye, one of my favorite Bond movies, and then afterwards I watched the movie that came after that, Tomorrow Never Dies. And first saw this movie, I think like 8 or 9 years ago when it was on Netflix. Because back then, I think 2018 or 2017, and I do not remember. I did not remember hardly anything about this movie except for like the final showdown. I remember it taking place on like this exploding ship where the bad guys are hiding, but I didn't remember what happened during that final battle. And I remember it was a James Bond movie, and he had to save the world again. So like in every Bond movie. This movie came out when I was a kid. I didn't watch it as a kid, but a friend of mine who used to live next door to me, we would rent video games. Well, he would anyway. He would rent video games from this independent video store that was in our town at the time, and I didn't have a gaming system, so I just went over to his house and played with him. And he rented Tomorrow Never Dies, and I don't remember if I played it with him. I think I just watched him play it. But he that was my introduction to James Bond, watching him play that game. And the I remember parts of the games, especially cut scenes and that were that were like got taken from scenes in this movie that I noticed when I watched this movie again today. Like when Bond reunites with this old flame named Paris, she played by Terry Hatcher. She said he says, "Well, I didn't expect to see you again," and she slaps him and says, "That's for walking out on me long ago." Yeah, she did that in the game too. And I remember the game. They would actually let you you would actually be allowed to shoot her and kill her, but if you shoot her and kill her, you had to start the level over. Um, anyway, the another part thing I remember being in the game that was in the movie was the opening scene in the movie where Bond tries to hijack his jet in this like snow covered airfield at our military base. Yeah, that was the first level, one of the first levels in the game, one of the first missions, and the I think that's all I remember from the game that was in the movie. Um, because I didn't watch him play the whole game. Anyway, um, in the movie, Bond is out to save the world from this rich media mogul named Jack Jack Carver, and he's played by Jonathan Price, who same Jonathan Price who played Governor Swan in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. And he's in the idea of it's like a powerful media mogul, one of these news channels and newspapers and magazines and whatnot wants to start World War III and use this media that he owns to spread propaganda fun, to, to spread the war all globally. That makes for a pretty interesting villain, but he's not written very intimidating or like cold. Well, he's cold hearted because he finds out his wife the character I mentioned earlier, Paris, played by Terry Hatcher. He finds out that she is Bond's ex girlfriend, and when Bond and Paris sleep together behind his back, he has her killed for that, and also for giving him information to help stop him. And the main Bond girl in this movie is Michelle Yeoh's character, Wei Lin, and makes a better, more interesting Bond girl. And the she's like this Chinese secret agent working with the Chinese government. And when her and Bond team up, that's when the action really starts to kick in because most of the action scenes in this movie are just eye candy for action fans, but they're not really that impressive. But when we get to like him teaming up with Michelle Yeoh and like she has this like big brawl with all these thugs that are coming at her in one scene that I really like, and her and Bond, of course, they don't get along; they argue a lot, but then they learn to trust each other eventually. And she has this catchphrase where every time like Bond, like when he holds on to her when she holds them when they're on the motorcycle or when they're cleaning each other off. It's like outdoor public shower thing with bamboo shower rods, whatever. She, when they're washing off, she says, "Don't get any ideas." Yeah, but of course, by the end, they fall in love. I really like her character. She was cool. And in the final showdown on Carver's boat, there she's running around guns blazing with like two submachine guns in each hand. That was pretty clever. And also Bond, he has a moment where he takes control of this like turret that shoots these like little rockets that keep some of the bad guys all around the boat that are shooting at him. That was pretty cool. And has a cool card, Stinger missiles that he rides real well and in a chase scene. And like John Doe Baker, whatever his name is, he returns again as the CIA agent who helped Bond in GoldenEye, and he isn't given any action to do. I don't. I mean, he's played by the same guy who played the villain Brad Whitaker in Living Daylights, and I would have liked to see him have more action scenes, like him fighting alongside Bond in these movies instead of when he fought against him and Bond had to kill him when he was playing a different character in Living Daylights. But he doesn't have any action scenes in this movie either. Not that I recall. Um, the performances by the cast were all right. Like I said, the villain, the idea of like this media mogul wanting to use the news media to manipulate the public and manipulate the governments into fighting World War III and so he can take over the world. It's a pretty impressive idea for a villain. It's kind of actually mirrors a lot of crazy, crazy villains that are real life villains in today's world. And the guy who wrote the screenplay, I mean, he did a lot of research. Like he looked at old news footage of the Persian Gulf War that CNN and America and Sky News and the UK covered, and he also looked at um he looked towards like this British media mogul Robert Maxwell and American media mogul Rupert Murdoch for inspiration for the character, but this guy, I mean, he's he has the evil plan, but he's lacking in the like charisma, charm, like you don't see him as very conniving. Well, his plan is conniving. You don't see him as having this conniving demeanor, wanting to like to charm his way into fooling everybody into thinking he's a good guy when he's not. I mean, this is one scene where Michelle Yeoh's character, like what, Wai Lin, she, when the bad guys capture her on his boat, and he's like, she tries to fight her, try to break free from the guards and fight, and he just he mimics her karate moves and karate noises. It's stupid. Uh, um, the and the way Bond killed Carver was pretty clever, and the showdown he has afterward, fight he has afterwards with Carver's henchman. I like that Carver's henchman. He was a better villain than Carver. I kind of wish they'd cast that guy as Carver, but I don't know. This is an okay Bond movie. I give it a thumb up for stuff I did like, thumb down stuff I didn't like, and I don't think anybody ever remembers this movie today. Unless you're a big Bond fan and have all the Bond films. I am a big Bond fan. I don't have all the Bond films though. But all right, that's it for now. Thank you and God bless. Bye.